Hello, everybody. Trader basics you need to know today on Market Mondays. It's that place, it's that time. I'm the host, Blair Nightingale, for this edition of our Market Monday. We do this every single Monday. There are those of you who are joining us live right now, and those of you who are going to be watching the recording. So, for all of you, hello. This is going to be an exciting session. You say, Blair, you always say that. I hope I always say that. I hope I always say that because we're trying to put something together here for you guys to come, tune in, join in, get something of value. Say this all the time. You guys know this. My job, my hope, my goal in these sessions, whether it's our Monday broadcast, which you know is Market Mondays, or our Wednesdays, the Wednesday Wisdom broadcast, I want to give you something of value in this time that lets you know how you can move further in your finances, in your life, how you can win. I want you to win at what it is that you are doing. That is my goal. But I also want to let you know who we are, what we do. Len Salvador, I see you there. Hello to you too. Thanks for being on today. If you would like to drop a comment in at any point, you agree, you disagree, you have a problem with something I say, I invite it. Bring it on. Go ahead, pop it in there. This is a back and forth opportunity, and I want to take that opportunity. Let me know where you're from. You're joining us, whether you've been here every single week or this is your first week. Let us know that you're here. I would love to know you're out there. This will show me that you're watching, but I don't know who you are if you don't say hi. So I would love to hear from you. I get to know you a little bit that way, and that puts a face and a heart to what I am doing. Because again, my goal is that you would win. Today, Market Mondays, specific, starting a new series, Trader Basics you need to know. Trader Basics, Len Salvador, Toronto. Okay, excellent. We got some internationals on here. That is awesome to see. That's the beauty of this setup. I'm noticing this in Tradeway in general. I'm starting to meet people, and they are from all over the place. And Tradeway's had that for a little while. We have students from all over the place. But of course, with everything that's gone on in 2020, it's only accelerated that. It's only happening even more. So we got a couple people here. We got West Virginia. We've got Canada. We've got Jeffrey Walleen. I see this is your first week here. Welcome, Jeffrey Venable, obviously. We have seen you many times on here. Welcome, sir. 71 degrees in Colorado Springs. Beautiful. I woke up today and it was getting almost kind of cold, which I love. I love that. Texas. We've got Aspen Hills, Maryland. Man, I haven't been out in that area for a long time now. Tradeway used to go out there quite a bit. I miss that. I miss the events. I miss seeing you guys. You know, we do plan at some point to be getting back out there around the country to see you guys. No telling exactly what that looks like right now. But that is something we love to do. Joy, I see you there. Good day to you too as well from Washington. So, some hellos. Keep posting in there. I want to dive in. Trader Basics you need to know. I did not choose that title because I thought, you know what? I can choose a title. You guys ever heard of clickbait? Right? Certainly you've probably fallen for it before. I know I have. It basically says something spectacular so that you can click on it, but that's not really what's in it. Well, today I'm going to prove to you that this is an aptly chosen title because I actually want to tell you some pretty deep stuff. And I can't make many guarantees, right? The government, the law, rightfully so, says that I can't make wild guarantees to you guys. And that's for your benefit, and I'm fine with that. That said, I'm going to guarantee you today that this information is extremely important and it's overlooked. Most traders, in fact, most people who get into trading or investing, they don't actually even know these things. And for that reason, I don't think what they're doing is actually trading. It's something else. These are so important that if you take these out, it's not actually trading. These are trader basics. Now, I always say this to my students in the program. When I say basics, I don't mean it's the boring stuff that we have to get over and then finally we move on and forget it. Basics is foundation. Foundation is stability. Stability is something you can build on. And trading is something you build over time. A trading account is something you build over time. The skill of trading is something you build over time. So we're going to look at some truth about what it is and what it is not. And that's day one on this series. The series is Trader Basics you need, not want, not should, not could, but will know after this session and need to know in this session. We're going to go over those, but today is specifically what is trading and what isn't trading. Because when you take these things out, it's no longer trading, okay? And that's not always a bad thing. Not always a bad thing. And I'm going to talk about that, but it's good to have that clarity. Linda, I see you there. Good evening to you too. Nancy, I see you as well. People from all over the place, literally all over the country. The four corners of this country and beyond are represented here today. So without further ado, let's jump in here. Adjust my screen a little bit. What is trading and what is it not? I find it helpful to start off with what is it not? What is trading and what is not trading? So I have a course that I teach in the Tradeway program. This is the Tradeway Mind Mold course. What does that mean? It means in trading, there are two primary components for you and I to be aware of. Number one is we need a system. We're going to talk about this. We need a system that helps us identify when we should trade and every other time. There's when you should trade and every other time. That's number one. Number two is you. It's me. It's what's going on up here and it's what's going on in here. Because that always forms, it always produces the fruit of what we do, right? The point here isn't to be deeply philosophical. This is just a reality. You think, you believe, you feel, you do. Why would trading be exempt from that? Well, of course it's not. And we have deep beliefs about money, and you guys wouldn't believe. Maybe you would. I'm guessing that you wouldn't believe how much resistance even this conversation can get at times when we start to talk about the beliefs about money, especially as believers, right? It's like this dirty word. And of course, there's something to be said in that it's been made an idol of. It's been trusted in. It's been sought more than worthy things. It's been sought more than seeking God. Those are all real pitfalls of humanity. And certainly here in America. That said, it's a worthy conversation for us to engage in. And when we talk about this, it's important to remember we have extremely strong beliefs about money. So when you're going to engage in trading, you're going to engage those beliefs. They are going to manifest in one way or the other. So I have this program that I'm helping students get the right beliefs, the right things we need to know as traders. And we deep dive into that. What I tell them is this, and this is what I'm telling you today. And they know this, and you're going to know this. Trading is never gambling. It is never guessing. And it is never going for it. Well, just going to go for it. Let's just go for it. Okay, can do that. It's not trading. It's never gambling. It's never guessing. It's never going for it. That's not trading. That's something else. That's something else. Pretty much all falls under the umbrella of gambling. When you go to a casino, This is the intro for today, by the way. This is just the intro. We haven't even got into the meat yet. When you go to a casino, who does the gambling? Now you say, well, Blair, I would never go to a casino. Okay, you would never go to a casino. That's fine. Follow me through the metaphor, or through the picture. You and me would be the ones doing the gambling. Is the house doing the gambling? Absolutely not. They don't do the gambling. You do the gambling. I do it if we choose to go and put our money down on the table, as it were. Eventually, we will lose and they will win. And they know that, even sometimes by a very small margin over time. But they will ensure and guarantee that in the long run, they will come out ahead. Why? Because they only employ games, and that's what they are. They're games. They only employ games that have an edge for them in their favor, that only employ an edge that works in their favor. And they wouldn't do it if it didn't have that. You and I go in there, we don't have that. Now, we can choose certain games that do have better probabilities for us as a patron, if you will, than others, but it's still in the house's favor. The house always wins. You say, how's that possible? Maybe I played XYZ game and I won. No, they always win in the end. And people will say that about the stock market. Always going to win in the end. Yeah, it will if you gamble. In fact, it probably won't take very long for it to be the end if you gamble or you guess or you go for it. And when you have no skill set, then that's all you can do, really, is gamble, guess, or go for it. Trading is never gambling, guessing, or going for it. Okay? That is never what it is. David says, David says, I kept clicking on the video and it said starting soon. When I signed on today, just for everybody on here to know, and if this may happen in a future broadcast, you never know. It's nothing we can control here at Tradeway. There was Facebook had set an alert saying there was some kind of a problem where it was giving a false message, but you would still be able to join the broadcast, which of course is true because you're here. So if anybody else saw that, you can just ignore it. It's a Facebook thing. They're working to get that figured out, but we're all here and we're happy. Let's move on to the meat of this thing. Like I said, that sets the foundation, because a lot of times we think, well, maybe that's what it is. Or there's a place that's still kind of hanging out. That's kind of like, well, it's still kind of that, isn't it? It's still kind of just, no, the further we go in the trading journey, the more we realize, it's not that. Here's the lie. Okay, this is number one. This is what it's not. I'm going to tell you what it's not, and then I'm going to tell you what it is. Lie, truth. That's what you're going to get today. These are things every trader needs to know. Lie number one, trading is a get-rich-quick scheme. Trading is a get-rich-quick scheme. That is a lie. That is not what trading is. It's way more important and impactful to state the truth here, which is that trading, the truth of trading is it's a skill set. It is an actual skill set that can be extremely powerful for those who learn to use it for themselves. I used to say this to people all the time when I was at live events. Your training in trading is you're learning a trade. There's a mouthful, right? When you train to be a trader, you're learning not just to trade, but a trade. And I honestly, now having done this even more, I started saying that years ago. Years have gone by, and I believe it even more because I believe the skill set is particular. I believe different people can do it, but it's a particular skill set. It's identifiable. It's executable. It takes time to build it, this is a good thing. There's a method to this. This isn't just a few people. I'm going to get to another lie. I just about jumped to it. They're all kind of closely tied. This isn't just for a few people who figure it out. Okay? We're all in the process. We can all get there, but we're not even going to try if we think it's just for a select few. This is a skill set. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not some sort of, secret or sleazy or tricky thing that like maybe some of us are going to make $1 million next month. And no. It's a skill set. It's a skill set. And if I treat it like a get-rich-quick scheme, most likely I'm not going to get anywhere. That is not what this is, right? Traders who learn the real work of trading and the power of it are professionals. They're professionals in that sense. So we need to approach it that way. We need to understand it that way. That's a big deal. We need to get that other thing out of there. A friend of mine used to call it stinking thinking. I would say that's stinking thinking. You got to kick that out of there. Lie number two, and I touched on this a little bit. Let's go a little bit deeper. Number two, the lie is it's something that works, trading, for those who know a lot of math or are good at math. They're good at interpreting or reading company data, balance sheets, income statements, quarterly earnings reports, news, or that person has highly gifted just skill of intuition. Man, they just seem to be, they have the Midas touch. They just seem to pick the winners. Okay? That is lie number two. I'm going to say it again. Something that works for trading is something that works for those who know a lot of math or are good at math, are good at interpreting company data. Again, all those numbers, income, balance sheet, quarterly reports, news, product launches, all this information. Or that individual seems to be very gifted. They're just gifted. They're just blessed. They're just good at it. It just happened. That's what the devil wants us to believe, man. If you weren't endowed with this thing that just makes it happen like that, well, I guess you better not even bother. And thus throw away what could be one of the greatest financial opportunities you've ever had. I've said this on here before. William O'Neill, very influential investor for the last 50 years, 50 plus, said if somebody begins the trading journey and walks away from it, he is convinced they have walked away from the single greatest financial opportunity that we have in the United States today. I got up at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time today. I opened up my computer. When the market opened, I stared at a screen for 2 hours in the market. Hour and a half, really. I was in longer because, of course, here I am at Tradeway, working for the students and things like that. But I'm opening this up. I'm looking at the screen. I literally thought to myself today, it is still amazing to me to be able to do this. I'm in my bed, drinking a coffee, staring at the market. It's pretty remarkable. Now, I'm not going to say there haven't been days where I've just hit my head against the wall. There's a process of growth. But it's an amazing thing. Lie. Number two, those three things. Here's the truth. Here's the truth about me. First of all, I'm not a good student in math. I never have been. I'm competent, but I never was. I never was a good student in math. Okay? I hardly ever look at any company data. And that includes news, save for a little bit if that company is making major headlines. Okay? I hardly ever look at any company news in terms of looking for a specific stock trade. And while I do believe that the Lord wants to speak to us personally, and why wouldn't he want to speak into our trading? I believe that too. In fact, I'll tell you in this broadcast, one of the first things I felt like the Lord said to me about trading when I was a brand new trader. And I've learned that he knew what he was talking about, as he tends to do. Somebody out there knows what I'm talking about. I do believe he wants to speak into our trading, but I don't make trading decisions out of a sense of inner hunch. That's not how I trade. I don't do that. I'm not going to say that there isn't a place for intuition at any point, or a sense, if you will. And I'm not even trying to be spiritual with that. I'm saying you may have an impulse or a compulsion is the word I'm looking for a specific thing, but that has to be regulated by the skill set that I learned. This is good stuff. I hope somebody's taking notes. Of course, you can always rewatch this as well, but this stuff is important. What's going on here? Number one of the hardest things for new students to appreciate to the level that it actually will impact them. Winners in this skill set pay attention to this, and they pay attention to this. That is true. Getting people to understand that takes time. I don't use a lot of math. I don't read company news. I don't look at data sheets, right? The little bit of that we need to do in our system, we actually do that for you. And I don't trade off hunches. I trade off systems. Lie number 3. I'm going to say this right here, actually. This was going to be a little bit later. The system is what helps me identify what trading really is. The system I have to be like the house, casino analogy, to be like the house. If we want to trade like the house, we need a system. We need an edge. And we need to only engage in activity that has that edge present. And we need to be able to manage this and this well enough so that that stays true. Learn the system, manage yourself well enough. I said I'd tell you. I think this is the right time, though. What did the Lord say to me? What did he say to me when I first became a trader? I remember exactly where I was. One of the coaches who used to be with us at Tradeway, Micah May, he's gone on to do other things now, still a trader. I was at his house. I was a brand new trader. And the Lord said, Blair, the mark of a trader is discipline. The mark of a trader is discipline. So I've got to know when the edge is present, and I've got to manage my activities inside of that. That's what a casino does. And that's why us as traders, we don't guess, we don't gamble, we don't go for it. We can, but I don't recommend it. Lie number 3. And then we'll do a quick review and look more at what trading is. Now, obviously, as we look right now, a lie and a truth, what it's not, we're looking at what it is, but I want to deep dive to some other parts of what it is. But let's do lie number 3 and review. I need a lot of money to get started in trading. Otherwise, there's no point. That's lie number 3. I need a lot of money to get started. Otherwise, there's no point. I got a bullet point list here because I don't want to forget any of these things. I want somebody out there to hear this today because that's the reason you haven't started. That's the reason you haven't started. Because you thought, well, I can't even make a dent in my financial needs right now if I trade with something so small. $200. Maybe you don't have $200 right now. But maybe you could in 6 months, in 2 months, in 12 months. The lie is that I need a lot of money to start. The truth is, what is this? What am I really talking about? I'm talking about what trading is and what trading isn't. What did I say it was? A skill set. It's a skill set. It's teachable. It's learnable. It's identifiable. It's methodical, step by step. So why wouldn't beginning to learn that skill set be something that you could do right now? Even if you don't have a $10,000, a $50,000, a $5,000 trading account. It takes time. So you're learning a skill set, and that learning process can begin right now. With no money in an account, you could virtual trade. We will show you how to virtual trade. You can go back in time and begin to paper trade, we call it. Paper trade, virtual trade, basically the same thing. It simply means you're just using fake money. You say, well, Blair, can I really learn how to trade with just using fake money? You can learn a lot. You can learn a lot. You can't learn so much about what's going to happen here and here until some real money is on the line. But even that doesn't have to be a lot of money. And that can be your step 2. Why short circuit step 1? Because you don't feel like you're ready for step 2. Good news. You don't have to be at step 2. You get to be at step 1, right? So the lie doesn't need to stand. I need a lot of money. No, you need to start. That's what you need to do. If your goal is to be a trader, if your goal is to use trading, if your goal is to learn about trading and see how it could be a financial breakthrough for you and your family, you don't need a lot of money in an account right now. If you don't have that, what you need is to start. Start somewhere. Start somewhere. You need to invest time. That's something you'll need. People say to me all the time, well, how much time do I need? Well, how much time do you have? How much space can you make? Maybe a little more. But you give what you have. You sow the seed. I'm reminded this last few days, to be honest with you guys, how much I can do in a year. My personality, I want things to get done yesterday. If I haven't arrived at my goal within a short period of time, I can get caught up in that. I'm telling you guys, this is one of Blair's tendencies, and it's definitely popped up here and here in trading. Maybe that's not you. Maybe I'm speaking to some of you. You can do a lot in a year. You can do a lot in a year with consistent investment. So you're going to have to invest some time, some brain energy, but you don't need a big account to start. We always say this at Tradeway, you got to learn to trade better before you can trade bigger anyway. So go after the better, even if right now you can't do the bigger. Because even if you could right now, you know what we would tell you to do? Go smaller. Don't be trying to make that mortgage payment every month until you have shown a certain level of breakthrough with the skill set. So we would suggest that you go small right now anyway. Furthermore, investing in the stock market's never been easier. There's platforms that have 0 fees. You can buy partial shares now. You couldn't do that just a short time ago. Meaning, if you want to buy a share of a company, let's say it costs $100, you would have had to buy at least one share at least $100. Well, now you could buy a share that normally costs $100, and you could choose, literally, you could put in $15. You think you could maybe practice with partial shares? I think you could. I think you could. So then the investment really is the time, the consistency, and some education. Some education so that you know you're not gambling, guessing, or going for it. So let's talk a little bit more. I'm going to check to make sure I don't have any questions. Len says, how small is small? I hope I hit on that a little bit there, Len. Because again, like I just said, you could do partial shares even. Not every brokerage firm has partial shares, but some do. I'm speaking to people right now. I know it. This is how you can get started. Tradeway, as far as training goes, Tradeway has subscription programs now that before this year we never had. And so people, trading is blowing up right now. It's exploding because of the state of the world, the pressures of people in our country, financially, economically, the labor workforce restrictions, how much we're using tech and Zoom and all this kind of stuff. It's opening up. The industry is getting less and less expensive to use the tools that we used to pay. Even just a short time ago, we used to pay a lot more for that. So a lot of people are getting into this, and our programs even at Tradeway are growing because people don't want to guess, gamble, or go for it. So those things have come out, and even those things are a lot more affordable than anything we've ever done at Tradeway. So there's good news all around in terms of what do I need to really be able to get into doing this. And you don't have to go all in, all in. You can go in and say, all right, take me to the next step. Teach me more about what you're doing. Start walking me through this. Troy says, never heard of a partial share except for splits. So stock split and partial shares are different. A stock split is when a company actually splits the amount of shares that they have available in the market. Okay, it can be kind of a confusing concept for some. I'm not going to go into the whole idea of splits. Apple just did a split. Tesla just did a split last month. That was big news. But a partial share is when a broker, which is who buys and sells the stocks for us, okay? We don't buy stocks from the company. If I buy Netflix, I don't buy Netflix stock from the company. I go to the exchange, and the exchange is what fills the order. But there's a broker in the middle, brokering the deal. They are the ones who execute the order. We use online brokers. Easy, online. At Tradeway, we help you know who to use, how to set up an account, and how to use it. That's part of what we do. Brokers, some of them, not all of them, some of them offer partial shares, saying, I'm choosing a name, Jeffrey. Jeffrey would like to buy a partial share of Apple. I don't know what Apple's trading for right now, but he wants to buy $50 worth of Apple. They'll let him do that. That's less than one full share. They'll let him do that as long as that broker has partial shares for sale. And Jeffrey says, I opened my account with $500. $500. Maybe you have a garage sale. You clean it out for the summer. Have a garage sale. Put it in a trading account. It's seed money. Everything that goes into my trading account, it's seed money. I look at it as seed. The scripture talks about bread and seed. I want to ask the Lord, when you give me financial increase, I first give to him what is his. I ask him, where do you want this to go in my life? And what is bread and what is seed? I don't want to plant bread. Bread planted in the ground doesn't do any good. I plant seed, but I don't eat seed. I eat bread, right? The scripture talks about bread and seed. I want to know the difference. The only way I can is connection with the Holy Ghost. So, that said, what is trading? Now, we've touched on some things. Okay, quick review. Is it a get-rich-quick scheme? No, it's a skill set. Something that works for only those mathematicians, economics majors. People ask me, Blair, what's your background? What's your background? You must have, and then they make assumptions about, well, this guy does finance, so he must XYZ. No. And many, many students at Tradeway, they know, what this is like. Oh, wow, you're a stock trader. Interesting. You must have a business background. You must have, because that's what we think, right? That's what we believe. And why not? I would have said the same thing. Well, actually, my background is in the music industry and the ministry. Missions, actually. Inner city ministry. And now I'm a trader, right? hopefully that gives some people some hope, because you can really do this. It doesn't matter the background. So you don't have to be a mathematician. You don't have to be a business major. You don't have to be an economics major. You didn't have to do an internship at Goldman Sachs. Okay? That's not necessary. If you did it, hey, maybe we should talk. I'll have you on the show. I value the skill set you have, but it's not required. Interpreting company data or highly gifted, trading on hunches, all that stuff we covered. No, I don't do any of that stuff. Okay, I need a lot of money. We just went over that. You don't need a lot of money. You don't need a lot of money to start. And is it worth starting? Is it worth starting today? Is it worth starting? Moving forward, planting a seed. So we know it's not guessing. We know it's not gambling. We know it's not going for it. So it is. And of course, this is a longer conversation, I think. If you got questions, go ahead, pop them in there, because once I get through this section, I'll jump over to those questions and I'll answer those for you. So now's the time. Pop them in the comments section and I will get to that. Trading is, in short, number one, things you need to know. Learning, this is trading, okay? It is learning to look at the market, learning to look at price, and I hesitate to say it this way. This is true. Price data, which is a fancy way of saying I look at the stock price. I look at the movement of the stock price, something we teach you how to do. Even just how to look at it on your computer. Where do I go? How do I see that? What does that even mean? We show you how to do that. And when you're doing that, trading is this. It's learning to identify an edge, an environment that is favorable more so to you as the trader. It has a higher probability in that specific instance of doing what you want it to do. Did I say it had a guarantee of doing what you want it to do? No. No, I said it had a higher probability of doing what you want it to do. You say, well, Blair, what's the higher probability? How do I know? How do I know what that is? That's exactly what we teach you. That is trading. That is trading. Learning how to identify when those things are present. So right now you could stare at what's called a stock chart, which is a chart of that price information, that data, that movement. You might be looking at an amazing edge right in front of you, but you don't know what you're looking at yet. It's there. You just don't know what to see yet. But you can. And that is then when you would go, all right, that's something I would trade because I see that edge present. Trading is making your dollars available, vulnerable even is a word I might use, vulnerable to market movement under favorable conditions. Somebody needs to write that down. Trading is making your dollars, exposing your dollars to market movement under favorable conditions. And it is limiting that exposure and vulnerability to the market to only favorable. Remember I said not guaranteed, but under favorable and only favorable circumstances. You say, well, how do I do that? Learn to identify the edge. Learn to identify the edge. Now, there are people out there who say, Blair, it's not possible. Can't have an edge. And I talked in I think it was my very first Market Monday session. You can go back and watch it. Why do people say most traders wash out of the market in the first year? I recommend you go back and you watch that broadcast because I have some strong things to say to those who don't believe that an edge is possible. And I think it's important for us to be liberated from that kind of negativity. And I understand where it comes from, but I disagree with it 100%. And I experientially disagree with it 100%. I talk about it in that broadcast. So it's learning to identify where an edge exists in the price movement of the stock market. That is trading, number one. Hopefully somebody wrote that down. Number two, it's learning, I said this, to make your money available to the price movement of the market. Get this part though, while maintaining good risk management. Somebody out there, I know there's a little delay. Somebody out there tell me, I've said this on here before. Finish the sentence for me. Okay, take a guess if you don't know this. Trading, okay, we're talking about traders. Amateurs think profit. Professionals manage what? Okay, I'll say it again as we're waiting. Amateur traders, what do they think about? First thing, usually only thing, they think profit. When they're looking at a trade, when they're thinking about their trading, when they're looking at the stock market, when they're assessing a price chart, a stock chart, they're thinking money, profit. I'm seeing the answers come in and I'm happy because you're right. Professionals think risk. They think risk. And they either adopted that early on because they were told it was important, or they set it aside, lost money, went through pain, and realized that trading is not chasing profit. Trading is, on top of the things I've already said, managing risk. Johanna says professionals like strategy. I agree. That's not the end of the sentence I was saying, but that is what I've been saying previously in the broadcast. They use a system that gives them a strategy to know how to find good setups and to only take those setups and what to do when they're in those setups, which we just summarized in manage risk. You say, well, Blair, if I do find an edge, how do I manage the risk when I'm in it? That's what we teach you to do. I'm going to give you a little freebie right here, a hint. We've talked about this on here already. Linda, you're correct. You're correct. Here's a freebie. How do I manage risk? 2 words, stop out. Is that the whole picture of managing risk? No. No, but it's a very important one. Stop out. Stop out. So, professionals manage risk. Let me read this again. Learning to make your money available to price movement. This is trading. Learning to make your money available to the price movement of the stock market while maintaining good risk management. There's no guarantees, so we always manage risk. And if we don't, it's not trading. It's no longer trading, and we're getting back to going for it, guessing, gambling. Number 3, have a methodical and self-controlled way, meaning you are controlling your actions, you know what you want to do, and you're actually able to rely on yourself to do what you said you would do. I talked about this on a Wednesday recently, something psychologists call the action-intention gap. I said I would do this, but then I didn't. I did something different. Why is that? We talked about that. And I talk about that more in the Mind Mold course that I teach in Tradeway. Action-intention gap. Why on earth would I set my mind and heart to do something in my trading, knowing that it's important, and then I actually don't do it? That seems crazy. Why would I do that? Well, it's something that we all, at some point, are going to run into. So we need to untie that. Okay, so that's why I say this. Number 3, we're getting into some deep stuff. Okay, this is some really good foundation. You say, well, Blair, we're not really looking at the system you keep talking about. No, we're not really. We're looking at a correct understanding of what it is before we even bring it into the mix, which we will do in further episodes of the series. I'm excited for that. but this is important. In fact, it's the key. We have amazing technical analysts over here at Tradeway. We have traders that work as coaches in our company, and they're fantastic analysts and traders. They all know this stuff is the thing I mentioned already, traders overlook and unfortunately suffer as a result of that. Don't have to, but often do. And they know, because of their own trading process, it's an extremely important thing. I say this all the time. I feel like I've been saying it a lot lately. If you are driving a car, you've got two different entities, right? You've got the car, you've got the driver. Does the car matter? Of course it does. In terms of speed, in terms of comfort, in terms of safety, it matters huge. But in my opinion, not as much as the driver. When we're looking about safely getting from somewhere to somewhere else, it's about the driver. You got kids? Yeah, sure, there's probably some cars out there you go, no, my kid's not riding in that car. But more likely, you're going to more quickly think of a person that you'd say, you're not getting in the car with that person. It's not a judgment on that person so much as it is an assessment of, no, not a good driver. Well, why is it any different with our money? It's not. So this is really huge. Having a methodical and self-controlled way to take profits from the market when profits are present, that's number 3. That's number 3. You have to have a way to know, well, when do I get out? If I'm actually making some money, what do I do? Because if we don't have a system that touches on that, well, then we're missing one of the most crucial parts. Yes, professionals manage risk before they think profit, but that doesn't mean they don't think profit. They're still in the game to win, and so are you. So we got to have that. Okay? And I've said this. It's having a well-defined process of what to trade, when to trade, while managing oneself well. Say it one more time. Trading is having a well-defined process of what do I trade? When do I trade it? While managing oneself well. Okay, that is trading. Most people don't understand this, right? Most people don't understand this. And even if they do, they tend to struggle to control themselves well enough to stick to the parameters that they understand. So that is why we do process. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the skill set of trading. It's the car, it's the trader, it's the car, it's the driver, and it's the road conditions. And when those start to come into sync, this thing can be pretty sweet. And that's our goal over here at Tradeway. Jeffrey says, Endel, LOL. I know people like that. I'm going to assume that you are referring to people you would not allow to drive loved ones. Let's put it that way. And just to be clear, I think you guys know my heart. I don't make a direct comparison between your dollars and your family. But I think the point is clear. It drives it home for us. Jeffrey says, decision-making is key to trading. Right? The world is full of flat squirrels that couldn't make a decision. It's the deer in headlights. It's a state of anxiety and shock. I just don't know what to do. Do I go forward? Will I make it? Do I turn around? Will I make it? I can't decide. Boom, collision. That's what happens in trading all the time. It does. Because the fortitude that we need as traders getting into a trade that comes from everything I just talked about is not in place. And that's why foundation is so important. These are trader basics that you need to know. I said I can't guarantee much. I can guarantee you this. If you trade, you're going to discover how important these things really are. So, hey, why not come on here with me? We're in 50 minutes now. We're going to wrap up right here. And why not just get them for free? Because that's what we did today. If you are interested in joining any of our programs, Tradeway, as I mentioned, we have programs that teach you these very things. We're going to get into the weeds. We're going to get into the nitty gritty. We're going to walk through this. Some of the people who've been commenting today are in our programs. They are learning to trade. They're doing it with us right now. So I'll post that in the comments on the Facebook page. If those of you want to click that, open that, we will be able to help you out with that. And then, of course, as I said, Wednesdays, I remind you every week, we will be back. We are starting a new series there. We did start a new series last Wednesday. So if you want to go back and watch the last one, Christians influencing, impacting culture. I'm passionate about this one, especially where our country is at right now. The foundation for that was laid out last Wednesday. So that's a little bit of who I am, who we are here at Tradeway, beyond the markets, the dollars, the strategy, and all that, of course, is a huge part of who we are, but there's so much more, and it's really the why. It's the why we do what we do and the dreams we have for the trading that we are in the middle of doing and perfecting on our own journeys and accounts. And that's just who we are at Tradeway. We're also going to continue to interview coaches right here on the Market Monday. So watch for those as well. Those are going to pop up. You do want to tune in for those because you want to hear the story. You don't know who I'm going to bring on here from the Tradeway world that has a story just like yours. We've got people. This is the kingdom. This is the kingdom. We got people who would never meet one another under normal circumstances, but it's never normal circumstances in the kingdom. And that's how my journey with Tradeway has been. We're going to sit down. We're going to talk to some of these people, get their story, and you're going to see, hey, that guy, that girl has the same story as me, except they're at the place I want to be at. How did they do it? And that's what I want to bless you with. How did they do it? I want to thank you guys for being here today. If you were impacted by this, go ahead, like it, share it, send it to a friend. How is this not going to bless somebody right now that you know is in need of this information? So go ahead and send that over to them. I will drop that link in the comments for those of you who want to jump in, get started with Tradeway, right? And we will see you on Wednesday.